Hi, I'm Sasha.
And I'm Dahi.
This is DNA Slot Cars, and we are going to be doing a podcast with Rahul from Conquest Racing Club.
Welcome, my friend.
Welcome.
Hey, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks very much for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for joining.
We appreciate that. We know you're a busy man.
Yeah.
I'm not busy. I like to stay busy. That's it.
Yeah.
Not really busy.
Well, you know what they say about idle hands, don't they? Don't you?
I do.
Sasha has a load of questions here for you.
Yeah.
And she's going to start shooting them off. Hopefully none of them are too difficult now.
So what part of Canada do you live in?
I live in Toronto for now. Yeah, might be moving next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Within Canada, Rahul, or elsewhere?
Well, most likely in Canada. Probably go towards the Maritimes.
Right.
So that's towards New Brunswick, Halifax area.
Yeah. Nice. And you haven't always lived up in Canada, have you? So you were, I think, we've obviously chatted a bit offline, etc. I guess a bit like me, I've lived all around the place as well,
Yeah.
And have you settled in Canada? I mean, do you enjoy it up there culturally, etc.?
I'm tired of the city, so
Yeah,
I'm tired of being in Toronto. So the city's become very crowded, and yeah, so I think now I'm looking to move out into something that's a little bit more less busy. Not that it affects me too much. I do work from home. I'm very lucky and privileged to do that, and so that's great. But I also feel like just standard of living is just different. When you get out into a smaller community, it's a lot better. I feel a lot more comfortable, maybe, or at least I want to try it. Originally, the thought was to go to Spain, but that's where my family is right now. But ultimately, with my daughter being in Canada, I will, wait and see. For now.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on the city side of things. It's we live out here in Katy, which is, I mean, depending on the traffic, yourself, it's relatively close to Houston, and it's can get crazy busy in built up areas. And I mean, I've lived in cities and outside the cities, obviously growing up in Ireland and from the countryside, so I always appreciate the lack of craziness that goes on sometimes. It's very quiet here, which is good. I think it's definitely something to try. As you mentioned, it's you try anything once.
Yeah. Well, I come from Kenya, Africa.
Yeah.
And I grew up on a farm first. So and then Kenya is I was always out in excursions and in the wild. So I do, and then I think 2 years ago I traveled to Spain to see my family, and they live in the mountains. So
nice.
I think our family loves that kind of nature aspect of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to, I would like to try it, and yeah. So looking at making a move. It's a big decision, but hopefully next year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all of these things are. I mean, as we know well, and Sasha and we obviously moved from Australia over here. Again, work based, and I've obviously moved all around the place in the past, and it's once you kind of get over that thing in your head where you're okay, all the hassle that goes with it, and you just get into it and do it, and I think it's definitely good. And if you try it and you don't like it, I mean, what's the worst that can happen,
Exactly. Yeah. Got to look at it that way.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. What have you got on
So
next
how
on the
did
list?
you get into slot cars?
Well, so from a very young age, my grandfather had a slot car track. So it was a electric track. So I don't know
Cool.
HO and I don't know small level slot cars.
Yeah.
I grew up with 1/32 scale slot cars. So
Yeah.
I remember that adults playing with the track. I was never allowed to touch the track. Eventually, the track was
Yeah.
given to me when I reached a certain age, obviously.
Hmm.
But for the first little bit, I used to watch the adults race all the time.
Yeah.
And then I had to do really well in school
Mm.
one year, and I was promised if I did well, my uncle from England would bring me something, and I did well in school, and I
Mm.
got my MG Metro oval. It was like a
Cool.
2 foot by 3 foot oval,
Nice.
banked corners, and two MG Metro cars, and that was my track. It was the old collector track that kind of had those button tabs and
Yeah.
the little like prong that went underneath the track and connected
Yeah.
to the
I know the one.
controllers. And yeah, I ran those cars ragged. Um, I love Lego as well, so I had a lot of Legos. So I used to build like these like crazy like scenarios
Mhm.
and buildings and different vehicles and just dress up my track, and I used to run the
Cool.
cars. Yeah, that's how I got into it. And then when I left, I brought the track that my grandfather gave me to Canada,
Hmm.
uh, and I was in wargaming, and I opened
Yeah.
my own hobby store here in Canada in 2005.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And originally, I that track ended up being put onto a wargaming table,
Hmm.
and I won. And they used to have competitions for the best table at wargaming events, and I built one with a full resin lake and everything in it, and the track
Nice.
was embedded into the table, so it was destroyed.
Yeah.
And at that time, when I had my hobby store, SCX Digital had just come out.
Mm.
So I bought a 10 foot by 10 foot SCX digital track and put it
Hmm.
down in my store. And I used to promote the little kids in the neighborhood when they finished school could come by. I think it was $5 and you got to run for the rest of the evening.
Nice
And
idea.
I used to have cars out and they used to run on it. And when
Mm.
I closed, when I sold my hobby shop,
Hmm.
um, I gave that track to a young kid who used to come in and every day I
That's
said the
cool.
track was his, and that's where the SCX track went. That
Bet
was
she
in
was delighted.
yeah, he was super shocked. His parents were super shocked.
I
And
bet.
then I left stock cars, and then 2008, a friend of mine wanted to go for his birthday to the go-kart track, and I went down
Mhm.
to the go-kart track, and I did not race go-karts that day because in the corner of the track, there was a store that sold slot cars, and
Yeah.
I went in there and I never came back out. So I didn't spend his birthday with him. I spent the birthday on myself, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and I left with like 2 or 3 kits of Carrera. At that time, I didn't know about corners and different curves and all that. I just picked up whatever
Yeah.
I could. So I walked out with 3 kits. I think one of them was a 124 kit and two of them were 132nd kits.
Cool.
And I took it home and I built Laguna Seca, which is my
Mhm.
favorite racetrack, in my basement. And we started racing, and then we put it away like everybody does. You get bored after a while and you put the track away and you don't think about it.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then I got into videography, and then obviously with the pandemic hitting,
Yeah.
I was stuck in my house, and I wanted to practice my videography and photography, and I wanted to take pictures of things in motion, and slot cars came to mind.
Yeah.
I started doing that, and then at that time I was heavy into rail racing, 1-to-1 scale racing. And then right after the pandemic, I was diagnosed with Meniere's, so I had to stop racing permanently, and slot cars became my passion, I guess. So
Cool.
there you go. And that leads me to here.
Yeah. It's always interesting, people's interests or hobbies, etc., and just what route they took into it, and you've obviously got a passion for cars, which we'll chat about a little bit later. But yeah, very cool.
So why did you decide to start a YouTube channel?
So like I said, I want to learn more about cameras. I'm very into cameras and camera gear and setup. And so I bought a camera, and I was like, well, if I don't challenge myself to do something, I'll never really use this camera properly.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was I joined a creator club, a creator community. It was uh, Just Created or something. It was run by Heather and Tom Buck.
Yeah.
And they were online. And the first thing they said was, if you want to start YouTube, you have to do a 10-day challenge. So the 10-day challenge was create a video every day
Yeah.
for 10 days straight.
Yeah.
And you had to do different styles of videos. So you had to do like a talking head video, then you had to do a product showcase video, blah, you do a demo video, whatever it was. So 10 days. It was a 10-day challenge. I completed my 10-day challenge, and when I was done, they asked me, what style do you like? And honestly, I didn't know the answer. I had no clue, right? You do your 10-day challenge. You don't do a really good job because it's 10 days, and 10 videos in 10 days is a lot of work.
Yes.
So I was like, I really don't know. But then they were like, okay, well, you have to pick a niche to do. And I was in wargaming. So it was between wargaming and slot cars, I guess. And slot cars won, because I was at the tail end of my wargaming, period.
Yeah.
And slot cars was the new thing that was exciting me, and cameras. And it was fun to capture things in things that moved in high speed and slow motion and stuff. So it was a challenge. So that's why I chose slot cars. So it wasn't because slot cars was the thing I wanted to showcase on YouTube. It was
Yeah.
the camera and me loved to shoot slot cars. So I chose that as my niche for YouTube.
Yeah, well, your latest video was awesome, by the way. Really enjoyed it. Watched it a few times actually.
Yeah.
I just really liked it was different, and just there's a lot of videos out there and various things, and I just like how you're trying to bring your own kind of flair to it, and it's just different than any other videos that are out there, especially in this kind of hobby. So yeah, awesome stuff. Keep them coming.
Yeah, so something that has changed, and then we can talk about this if you want, but something that's really changed for me doing YouTube over this. So I started YouTube last January, seriously. So last year in January was
Okay.
when I started. Obviously, I knew nobody in the community.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to just shoot slot cars. And so that was it. I said to myself, I'll do 52 videos, one video every week, one car every week for 52 weeks, shoot 52 cars, catalog everything on web because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And I knew that 1,000 subscribers was the turning point in YouTube. So in the back of my mind, I was like, if I can get 1,000 subscribers in my first year doing 52 videos, that would be great.
Yeah.
Obviously, that didn't work out. I got to about 500 subscribers, but I enjoyed shooting the cars, right?
Yeah.
So
No, that's part of the next question Sasha had actually related to that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you keep going. It's she can. You're already kind of answering it anyway. So
Okay. Well, yeah. So I finished my first year. I hadn't accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, and I'm very goal oriented. So Sasha, one thing I do, and right now I'm doing it, is at the end of every year, just the last 2 months, normally I am big on mind maps. I don't know if you know what a mind map is, but I create a lot of mind maps for everybody. For my clients, I create mind maps. For myself, I create mind maps. So I'm writing my mind map for 2024 right now. So I normally put objectives in all aspects of my life, for health, for work, for studies, for my hobbies. Every aspect of my life, I actually write out a mind map. What I want, what I'd like to do, what I'd like to accomplish, right? So at the end of this December last year, I was writing my mind map for this year, for 2023, and I was in a state. I was like, I didn't accomplish my goal. I was enjoying YouTube, but I wanted to do a little bit more. So I said to myself, I'll give myself one more year in YouTube, right? And this year, the goal was still to get to 1,000. But because I wanted to do more, I decided to do a live stream every week. And that's when the Monday night live stream was born. Actually, it was supposed to be Tuesday night, but Marty beat me to it by 1 week. All right. Marty and I were talking and had no idea Marty wanted to do a live stream. And then all of a sudden, Marty launched Two Lines Tuesday. And so that's why my live stream came out the week after on the Monday. But we always talked ever since. And so I've hit 1,000 now.
Yes, congrats.
Yeah.
But it was so weird when I hit 1,000 because I didn't know what to do anymore.
And that was exactly what Sasha had. Read out what you had written down there, Sasha.
So like, now that you reach your goal of 1,000 subscribers, what's your next conquest? What is for next for Conquest Racing Club?
Yeah, so good question, amazing question, because it's the same question I'm asking myself. I've been asking myself since I hit 1,000, because I remember getting to 1,000 was the last little bit, I think from 950 all the way to 1,000. I had so much doubt in myself because, nothing seemed to be triggering any growth, and I didn't know if I was going to get there. It was so frustrating because you're so close yet so far, and you really have no control on it, right? You just you try and put out the best that you can do, right? And I forgot about the fun of it, I guess. I was more like, oh, the numbers become priority. So when I hit 1,000, it was like the weight lifted. Like all of a sudden, everything just lifted, and I was like,
pressure's off.
What do I do? Right? I'm supposed to leave now. I'm supposed to walk away. That's the truth. I'm supposed to walk away now. It's my goal is accomplished. That's what I said to set out for, and I had no plans for this channel. In the future, I didn't expect to, have a community rally around me, or, I have made a lot of friends in this community, yourselves included. So I wasn't like, I was kind of like in a, weighing my options, and I was like, what do I do? Do I collect cars, continue collecting? Do I do unboxings? Everyone's doing unboxings. Everyone's collecting cars. My live stream is cool and I like it, but what else can I do for the community? What am I going to bring? What can I do? Because for myself, it's very important for me to be authentic to myself, which is do something that really means something to me. And so I just, over this little bit of time, I was starting to understand, we talk about layers in the slot car community, and we talk about like you start and then you learn how to tune, and then you learn how to do terrain, and you learn how to build tracks, and you learn how to, you learn about different slot cars and mechanics and everything else. For myself, there's one more layer that I've realized that I've added to my hobby, which is videography.
That's cool.
I do capture things differently from most people. My style is different. And I was like, why don't I take that and run with it? Just like Boone, just like, everyone takes it, their little niche, and they run with it. Why don't I take it and run with it? So when I decided that, I understood that videos might not come out as fast as I want them to anymore, but they're going to be out of this world. Like, they're going to be pushing my skill set to the next level. So I started with the AI script for the Green Monster, which is the first time I wrote a script.
That's
first
cool.
time I thought about it differently. Like, I didn't think of the car as a car. I thought of it as as in a wild animal that
Hmm.
we were trying to capture in the wild.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I approached it from that angle. It was a lot of fun for me,
Yeah.
right? So then I was like, Halloween's coming up. I should do something different, right? And I'd been working with light streaks in videography for a bit.
Hmm.
I was like, it'd be cool to create like this ghostly kind of video.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to, I was shooting in low light for the first time.
Yeah.
I was shooting, so the Halloween thing was kind of cool. And then there's animatronics and everything else included,
Yeah.
which was kind of cool as well,
That
right?
was very cool.
So, and I have 3 or 4 more videos planned out that are going to take this concept of giving the cars personality and character
Yeah.
over just being the car that they are.
Yeah.
And that's my vision now for my YouTube channel. It's like I may not release videos as frequently as I used to, but
Hmm.
when I do release them, they're going to be more cinematic.
That's cool.
I'm hoping. And then I'm getting excited about playing with the explosives and things
I can
that,
see it. I can see it in your eyes. Who doesn't like playing with explosives?
I
yeah,
love
so there's a lot of things that I want to try with tracks that I've never, had thought about doing before. But I'll
Yeah.
also tell you another thing that's really captured my attention these days is toy photography.
Yeah.
So I've been big in the toy photography industry. So I've been
Mhm.
really following a lot of the people that play there.
Yeah.
So I'm planning to expand that side of my world
Yeah.
because I do
Cool.
collect and I do paint a lot of miniatures and figures.
Yeah. You've seen
So
some amazing stuff you've done.
yeah, so yeah, I've painted over 10,000 miniatures already in my life. So
Cool.
being able to paint and create dioramas and take shots
Yeah.
and bring those to life would be something that I'm probably looking forward to for next year.
That's exciting. We look forward to seeing that ourselves, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my goal for my channel. Um, and my daughter is very much into the art, so
Yeah.
it will be a way for me to connect with her as well. Bring her art
Yeah.
out.
That's always nice. I think for me and the reason, well, the reason that we doing the channel was because Sasha and her mom were, really wanted to do it, and they asked me every day for a considerable amount of time, and eventually I gave in because, as you know, Ro, from some of the stuff I've done in the past, I know what work goes into these
Yeah,
things, so that's why I was hesitant, but we're really glad we did it
Yeah.
because, as you said, it's become. I don't know if you feel the same, Raoul, but it's become more about the people now for us than it has about anything else, and it's the friends that we've made, like yourself, like Travis, like Marty, like Massimo, like Dave, and just the list goes on.
yeah. When you
It's
start to
amazing.
name them, it gets very daunting because there's
Yeah,
so many names and there's so many people. And I was just saying this today to a friend of mine. I was like, I'm amazed that 1,000 people want to follow me. You know,
it's
it's
great.
unreal to me because I remember like I've been a little bit quiet over those last 2 weeks because of work and stuff. And the slot vendors all reached out and were asking me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Yeah,
It's really strange to have
yeah,
people that you've never met. You've never really shook hands. We've never
yeah,
met in person, but there's that caringness of the community that just like drives you forward, right?
yeah,
So yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely. What's next on the list, Sash?
So, what's your favorite slot car brand? I think I already know this answer to this one.
So that's another thing that I've come to realize is that I've been collecting slot cars willy nilly throughout my 2 years back. So when I started last year in January, I only had 37 slot cars. Today I have 500 and something. So I've
Did not
been
that much.
collecting like a fiend. Uh,
Mm,
and the funny thing was because somebody told me, a prominent figure in the community, MR Slotcar, Ernie Mozzetti himself, and I are good
wow.
friends. And he said to be a true slot car collector, you need to have 1,000 slot cars. So in my head. I have 1,000 slot cars in my head, and the problem with me is, when you give me a number and I have a goal, I want to
Yeah.
get there as fast as possible. So what happened was I was just picking up cars left, right, and center.
For the sake of
And
it, almost.
I love
exactly,
it.
right?
Thousand
And
cars.
Mm.
what's happened now, Sasha, is I have a pile of cars that I've never even looked at. And
Yeah.
I was like, do I want to continue doing this?
Mm.
And it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Not because I don't like cars, it's because
Mhm.
those cars never get showcased.
Yeah.
So I've made a rule now for 2024 is I'm only collecting 3 brands.
Okay.
I'll only be collecting Carrera,
Mhm.
Revo Slot,
Nice.
and Scale Auto
Yeah. Good
because those are
choice.
my favorite. Um, I may pick up like the Odds Collectric because they do themed cars that I really enjoy as well.
Yeah.
Like the Carlos Sainz car that you guys just
Yeah.
showcased, and
Yeah.
WRX that I just got as well. So those kind of cars I might pick up, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna limit myself to these brands. I love NSR, I
Yeah.
love Slotted, I love a lot of other brands, but the truth is I don't race them.
Yeah.
So to me, buying a slotted car it's a performance car, it's a performance slot car. I
Yeah.
just don't feel I do it justice. I may
Mhm.
love the livery, but you know, for as a collector, I think the Revo slots have way more pizzazz when you
They
pick
do.
them up. Uh,
They're substantial, aren't they? You feel it's like the BRMs or it's like the scale autos. When you have them in your hand, it's just there's just something feels premium. You've got that metal chassis, imprint on the bottom. They're
yeah,
just cool.
Yeah.
and there's another thing like the BRMs and the Scale Auto 124s.
Mm.
They're beautiful cars. So when I do say Revo slot, I don't really collect a lot of 124. I do
Yeah.
have maybe about 30 of them, but they're all like mostly Carrera. I have
Mm.
one BRM 124. Um, but I never look at them because I'm always like just rushing to collect the 132nds.
Yeah.
And so I want to take a step back and start to look at, maybe alternative scales.
Mm-hmm.
I said to Shotgun Dave actually this week on my live stream that I want to build my own cars too.
Yeah.
So
I
if I
think you'd
want,
enjoy that.
yeah,
Definitely you'd enjoy
especially
that.
since I'm going to go more into cinematography, it
Mm-hmm.
would be great to recreate. Like, let's just say we take the Gone in 60 Seconds movie,
Yes.
and we want to recreate that iconic scene where he jumps over at the bridge. He jumps over all the cars.
Yeah.
It would be great to do that with the exact movie replica of the car in a slot car form, right?
Yeah, it would.
So if I can build my own cars,
Mm-hmm.
and do the body kits on them and everything else, I think that's more value to me.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
rewarding I think, to do that as well. I mean, that's something that's got too many things on the go at the moment, but at some point, I think actually we might have something coming up with a build of some description. So that should be fun. But yeah, I think it's something that I definitely enjoy as well. I'm kind of in a lot of ways similar to you, Rahul, in some of your interests and the things that you enjoy. So I think we're excited about doing something like that as well.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'm excited.
What have you got on the go now, Sash?
Can you show us some of your favorite cars? How many do you
Oh,
have?
you already answered that one, didn't you? You
Oh,
got
yeah.
way too many.
Yeah. I want way too many. I want to fill up the whole house basically with slot cars.
Oh, Sasha would
Yeah.
just keep getting them. Well, I tell you what, Raoul, that whole thing with 132 slot car sponsoring that section is great because it's you start to feel like, okay, you're getting cars, and now it's like, okay, we're going to have cars coming to review and everything else, which is, it takes a bit of that pressure off almost, that you feel like you have to keep getting, so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
I want to keep those 3 Revo slots.
Well, you want to keep everything, don't you, Sash?
Yeah, that's true. I want to keep everything, but we can't.
So my question to you, Sasha, then is, okay, so you're gonna collect all these cars and they're gonna sit all over your house on the walls, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, could you honestly say to me that you run all your cars, or you get to enjoy all your cars?
I think I should like say that I get to enjoy my cars.
By looking
Yeah.
at them or
Yeah.
racing them.
Both, but mostly
Yeah.
racing.
So that's the thing, right? Like, if you enjoy both, so this is my thing. Like, when I look at my collection, I have 30 cars that are outside of the box
Yeah.
that I constantly play with, right?
Mhm.
And there are a variety of cars. So I have like I don't know if you know about the G slot NSXs, but I have like the original ones.
Don't
I
have
have
any
all,
one of them, but we've heard about them. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I have the full collection of G slots. I'm probably the
Nice.
only person that I know of that
Wow, I've
has
never.
all the Lexuses and all the liveries, all the NSXs and all the liveries,
Oh,
all the Honda Fits and everything. So I have the full gambit of whatever they produced.
right.
Um, so I have a collection of cars, 30 of them, that give me a variety of things I can run,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed them immensely. I have half of them magnets, half of them non-magnets.
Mhm.
I have half of them analog, half of them digital. So I get to play with all the different facets,
Mhm.
and um and that's enough for me. I like literally, like, whenever I want to pick up a car and run it, like the Bruno's Porsche
Yeah.
911 RSR from Carrera is the car I just put on the track. It
Mm.
runs really well. I have a C5 Corvette that's fully tuned that
Nice.
runs like a dream,
Yeah.
and I'll run those, and it'll give me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
But when you do new cars, what I find is I get the car in, they're
Yeah.
great for that moment. I'll shoot them.
Mhm. Mhm.
An average shoot for a car for me is about 6 hours.
Yeah.
So I take
That's a lot.
about 6 hours of footage and I trim
Mhm.
it down to 5 minutes for
Yeah.
what I put out into YouTube,
Yeah.
and then it's done. And then
Yeah.
that car gets put back in the box. I never touch it. I
Mm.
don't upgrade it. I bought all the
Yeah.
upgrades for it because that's me being me, silly,
Yeah.
and then I'll never touch it. It's like the Green Monster. If I don't take a step back now and actually build
Which
him up
which
and do
green monster though, Raoul? That's the question. Because you have a
exactly
few green
three,
monsters. You got three green
right?
monsters.
So I wanted to do the Tale of Three Porsches.
Yeah.
That was another thing that I wanted to do, and I bought all the upgrades for it
Mm.
to have three different Porsches tuned three different ways and see what really works and resonates,
Yeah.
especially at Carrera level, right?
Mm.
I think a lot of people do it at the slotted level. A lot of people do
Mm.
it but Carrera level, what can we do with it? Because
Yeah.
that's really what the brand I really love is Carrera.
Have
you
Have
know,
you thought about? I just something came to mind there. Have you thought about maybe getting that 124 version done by Gecko Racing?
yeah, I've looked at that.
They look
Uh,
pretty. They look pretty impressive.
yep, and that's the thing. So if I can slow down my slot car product buying, right,
Yeah.
which I will be doing,
Yeah.
it allows me to take some of these cars that I've been putting on the shelf, take
Mm.
them off the shelf, and start taking them to that next level.
Yeah.
And that comes to mind. So being able to experiment with new chassis for different
Yeah.
cars, being able to take different motors for those cars,
Mhm.
and really just take them up a level. Like Ernie cuts can cut specific metal chassis in stainless steel for cars,
Yeah.
and laser cut, fiber cut. So being able to do that to some of my cars would be great. And I've done it
Mm.
to some. I never showcased them, but they're amazing to run. They
Yeah.
just change the dynamic of the car,
Yeah.
and you get to use the cool body that you really like. I mean, Carrera bodies to me are still some of the best bodies.
They're robust and they're very highly detailed as well, Raoul. And
Yeah,
there's I think you're on the same camp as us. Show me a better value product out there, like better value, because they're just except. I mean, the chip alone is worth what, $20-$25, and
yeah,
then you can get them for what, maybe a bit more for you, but you can get them for 47 to 50 odd dollars, 55 for a 132nd.
yeah, 100%. Carrera is for bang for buck. There's nothing that beats a Carrera right now.
Mm.
Because okay, for myself, it's $85 for a Carrera digital car. put that in perspective, a electric car, non-digital, cost me
Mhm.
$125, right?
Yeah, it's getting up there, isn't it?
Yeah, and then put that into perspective, a reverse slot cost me $125. So
Mhm.
what do you buy? If
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy detail, I'm gonna buy a reverse slot if it's not digital. But 100% Carrera gets my vote. Plus, Billy and Amanda are local to me, which
yeah,
and I love to support anyone that's trying to do local stuff. So Carrera is definitely like my sweet spot.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you on that. I think what we found, and I don't know if what do you think, Sash, but when, I'm not saying we don't have as many cars as you, but we still have a reasonable amount now, like well over 100. I can't remember exactly what the amount is,
I think
but
it's
maybe
108.
I think it may be nearly 120 now. But I found that whereas before I was running different cars and I was doing different things to them, now we've got stuff in there that we haven't touched at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Exactly like you said. Like, for example, how many cars are in there? We've got two Thunder slots in there. And honestly, I think I ran them around the track once. There's stuff that remember we got a big lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know, did we run two of those cars maybe? And it's not because we don't want to. It's just we're doing, started doing these podcasts now, which we enjoy.
Like
We're
you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. We're doing, unbox review and then track test, and you find then your time is limited because when you spend a lot of the time when you're enjoying it, it's on camera now, and whereas before we probably did more out offside of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's my concern right now with me is I have 70 cars still brand new in box that I have bought and nobody's ever seen,
Yeah.
right? Like they're just piles on my desk, like and I sit down when I do my Monday live stream. They actually sit right next to me. There's a whole
Right.
stack, and I think I have about 10 Revo slot boxes in there. Like
Hmm.
I got, the original CLK, the
Yeah.
Warsteiner white, the Warsteiner silver. I have them. They're sitting
Yeah.
there.
They're
I have
cool.
the Rothmans Porsche. I have all these things that I've
Nice.
never shown anyone, and they're
Yeah.
just sitting there. Not to mention how many Carrera cars are still in boxes, like never been opened, right?
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I was like, it's fun. It's
Hmm.
great to have the collection.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, what my mindset and my change now
Yeah.
is I want to give my cars character. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy the cars that really resonate with me. Now, Carrera is always going to be a car, and Carrera releases about 23 or 24 132nd cars every year.
Yeah.
That's good. I can buy 24 cars.
Hmm.
Let's just say River Slot adds another 20 cars. That's about 50 cars. That's a good
Yeah.
haul for a year.
It
Let's
is.
just say I set the goal of 50 cars. That's 50 cars. That's almost a year's worth of content if you release one car a week, right?
Yeah.
So I still got that covered if I wanted
Hmm.
to. But more than that, I think it's about um if you want, and our mandate, Travis's, mine, most of us, is
Hmm.
we want to take this hobby and make it more bigger, right? We
Yeah.
want more people to know about it, and then what does that mean? It's about being more than just about tuning.
Yeah.
um and so for myself, it's about how can I make it fun, like
Yeah.
what can I do different,
Hmm.
because unboxing car is great. Sasha and you have a unique thing is because Sasha is driving those cars.
Yes.
So that is your connection to making this hobby bigger.
Nobody
Because
wants me to see me driving them, Rahul.
well, you driving them is cool, but Sasha driving them is cooler,
Yes.
right? And the reason for that, Sasha, is because A, is your skill is commendable,
Hmm.
but B, it also says to the next girl watching or the next young kid watching that, hey, I can do this too.
Hmm.
And that's important for this slot car community, right?
Yeah.
um and then also, um I challenge you to do other scales. That's my challenge to you guys. Is
Yeah.
like, as much as you drive the 132nds and you do some of the 124s, do the 143s, do the Echo as well. I
Hmm.
think for you to become a well-rounded slot car racer, it
Yeah.
will be good for you that way.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge to you guys. Do a little bit of
Yeah.
that, right?
Ex-
Get more
Challenge
into, like,
accepted.
I'm finding it that you know we have a divide within our community as well, that
Mhm.
Echo is Echo, and
Yeah.
I want to break that cycle too. I think Slot Valley
Yeah.
Racing and we've talked about it and do a lot more crossover
Yeah. They
things.
sent us a message actually, just a comment on one of our videos asking would we be interested in joining one of the streams, which would be fun.
I think it's important, not only
Hmm.
just fun, but
Yeah.
if we're really serious about taking this hobby to the next level. And Sasha, you want more people to race with,
Uh-huh.
because your dad and I, we're gonna get old, and we're not gonna be able to do this all the time. But you want the next crop of racers to come out.
Yeah.
Younger people just like yourself to be very involved, and the only way you do that is by becoming broader with your understanding of the
Yeah.
hobby as well,
Yeah. I
right?
agree with that. Definitely.
So
I had years ago, Rahul, and maybe or before, but I started off with a gifted scale electric set from my uncles, and actually a little bit later on than that, ended up with it was a Tomy AFX Turbo, and it had the Porsche 959 and the Ferrari Testarossa. So, it might be fun to get one of those AFX sets as well to show Sasha that, and they're super fast. As
yeah,
I enjoyed watching that. The Carrera Go set, and I mean they're just yeah.
yeah,
I was joking
challenge.
around about you'd have to slow them down and watch it in post just to be able to see them. They're going so fast. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're hard to film, and it was a great challenge for me
Yeah,
to film them, and I did it in low light. So I have a huge Carrera Go collection. I don't
yeah.
talk about it, but I also have the AFX International set as well, four
There you
lane International. I do have it.
go. Cool.
So um, I think the things that I would like to see moving forward for 2024, and maybe you guys can be a part of this too,
Yeah,
is a lot more crossover between not only the sizes, but also between YouTubers.
yeah.
So something I've noticed in the camera community that's happening is a lot of the bigger YouTubers are reviewing the same thing but doing it on each other's channels.
That's fun.
And I think that's what we need more. We need to come together more. We need to, like,
Yeah,
share more ideas, share more information. At the end of the day, the car is cool, but we are the ones that will bring it to life. So
agreed.
I think that's the onus on us to do as
Yeah,
creators.
I think so, and it's one of the reasons that we decided to start doing these podcasts, Raul, because there's a lot of cool stuff out there and everything else, but I think it's also nice for people to get a little bit of a background into a lot of these channels that they watch, and people, on live streams and stuff, and you don't always get as much in depth with someone. So I think it's just nice to have the one-on-ones to give people a little bit of a background, So hopefully people are enjoying it. They seem to be so far, so we're going to keep doing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I
Um,
love them.
Yeah.
I love to hear everyone's stories. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. What have you got next, Sash?
what will your next car you'll buy?
Oh, real car?
I
or
want
slot
an
car?
answer. That's a double answer. I'm going to add in the next slot car, and I want to know the next real car as
Yeah.
well.
Okay. So, um, the next slot car, I have the next Carrera car for sure. Whatever Carrera car comes out,
Hmm.
I have a standing relationship with Billy and Amanda. Whatever they get
Yeah,
in, they just put aside and they ship out to me directly. So
yeah.
whatever it is in 132nd Carrera, it'll probably come my way.
Hmm.
Um, I do have the two Reba slots on their way right now. I've ordered the Datsuns as well.
I'm looking forward to those. We'll have those
Yeah,
coming in for. Well, actually, both. We'll have the BRM and the Revos coming in for, so there'll be reviews of those, all three liveries as well. So looking forward to those.
yeah. So a ton of cars, cars to me, they come regularly into my
Yeah,
house. That's why it's hard, because when you do a track tech and toy segment every 2 weeks, you need to have something for each segment.
yeah,
So I tend to always have cars incoming to
yeah,
fill that segment, right?
yeah,
um but yeah, I don't really know, Sasha, but I'm looking forward to so many cars from the three brands now I've said. So
yeah,
the good thing about focusing now down to three brands is I don't have to worry about all the noise. As much as there's lots of cars that will distract me, I'm not going to lie. There'll be lots of cars that will distract me. Like right now, the 959 Momo Porsche came out,
yeah,
you know, and I have to like always say no when I go see it because I want it so bad. But
yeah.
I'm trying to be a good boy now, so we'll see
It's
how
not
long that
easy.
lasts.
It's not easy. I'm just curious to see now when we do a next future video with BRMs in there, whether or not that'll, push you over the edge and get the Revo slots a bigger brother.
Bro, I'm same like you. Whenever I see something I want it, but I have to calm down and not tell my father.
And that's tough, right? It's tough, right, to calm down. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, you know what I've been doing, Sasha, recently is I've been watching. Um, I was watching documentary recently on some of the biggest NBA players who act like average Joes.
Yeah,
So I was watching about LeBron, who's like worth 2 point something $billion, and how frugal he is,
yeah.
to the point when he cuts out coupons to go to supermarkets to buy things and stuff.
That's
So
funny.
when you put that in perspective,
Mm-hmm.
right, then you start to understand that, yeah, you need to dial back,
Yeah,
and that's how I'm trying to cope with it, because
yeah.
it is an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
We used to say in war game we call it a plastic crack addiction. So uh, that's what it is,
Yeah.
and this is an addiction, because especially if you're a car guy or you
Mm.
love cars, you
Yeah.
want to have them all, because it's like you owning a little bit of that car, right? You might
Yeah.
not be able to own the one to one, but you
Yeah.
definitely owning this part of that history, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough, but
Same. It
It
is
is.
tough.
And the next one actually is segue. Next question segues into something we were chatting about. Actually, do you want to go ahead with that one, Sash?
My dad told me you're bringing to Mopar No Car. What do you drive now? Tell us a bit about your car journey.
okay.
It's a
I've
big journey.
had I've had a
Big
lot
journey.
of cars, a lot of cars. Raced a lot of cars since I was
Rahul,
a
you should do
kid
proper
all the
racing.
way through. So I've had lots of accidents too. So,
That's the
um,
unfortunate. Well, I can
yeah,
appreciate that side, as you know, we've spoken about that, and
yeah.
I've been at that
Um,
wrong end of that too.
so I'll tell you how I got into Mopar. So I never knew about Mopars growing up in Africa. In
Mhm.
Africa, we were into the JDM stuff.
Yeah.
So the Datsun 120Y was a very common car. The Merc 300 SEL, the Volkswagens, and all that.
Hmm.
When I finally came to Canada, in the beginning was tough. I didn't come with much, and I couldn't really buy a car for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
When I finally bought a car, was the insurance in the car was worth more than the car. That's how bad it was. I bought a Honda Civic with over 300,000 kilometers on it, and that
Mhm.
was my car. And
Yeah.
I drove that for a bit, and then when I finally got enough saved up, I bought a Honda Accord V6, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is a lot of fun. It's a
Yeah.
lot of power." And I used to go to the hobby shop, and the owner of the hobby shop just bought a Charger Daytona. It's a 2006 Charger Daytona.
Nice.
And one day we're leaving we'd just finished and we shut down this hobby store and we're leaving, and he pulls out and he pulls away from me, and he was gone. Like the car had, it was a 5.7 Hemi, and I was in my
Yes.
V6 Accord, and he took off down the street, and I was like, I need me one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day I drove down to the dealership and I was like, you know, and I saw a Magnum. It was a 2006 Magnum RT,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like hooked. It would look like a hearse, but I didn't care. I wanted
Yeah.
it. It would look very utilitarian, and
Yeah.
I was hooked. And from there, my journey in Mopar just went on and on and on. And I've owned maybe 30 or 40 Mopars, Vipers, everything, Viper
Yeah. You know,
trucks.
Raoul's had a Viper.
Yeah, so
Oh,
Viper
I
trucks,
want one.
Mm-hmm.
GTR. I've owned a GTR Black
Mm-hmm.
Carbon Edition. Um, and I've owned. I had a 1200 horsepower Hellcat. I've had so many cars, and then when I got sick, I got rid of everything,
Yeah.
and now I have a just a basic SUV.
Yeah, it's not basic. We both know that, Raoul. It's got a bit of a beast under the hood.
Yeah, it's a Grand Cherokee Track Hawk. So
That's the one to have, my friend. That is the one to have.
yeah, so that's what I have now.
Yeah,
Um,
Raoul has a car, right? And it's got beast of an engine in it. And he thinks that if it's in an SUV, you see, it's a technically sensible car. That's what makes it sensible.
it's a grocery getter if ever there was one.
Yeah, I get you 100%.
Yeah, just like your V10 BMW, right?
Oh, Raoul, you know what? I got so excited last week because I got a phone call and they said, we got the car started.
Yeah,
After dancing around the room for 5 minutes, they said to me, look, they've had it for so long and they're such a temperamental, complicated engine. And it's, there's 1,000 mile break-in period, 4 oil changes during that time. You know the story. And he said, look, because this has been so long, would you mind if I did that break-in? Because I don't want you to come up here, drive it all the way from Oklahoma to Texas, and for something to happen. And I said, no, happy enough, as long as I know you're the one driving it.
yeah.
So fingers crossed for me, Rahul. And when I get it back, I think me and Sasha were chatting. We'll do a little review of the M5 and maybe one of the AMG, the E63 as well, just for something different,
AMG.
We'll do a bit of a review from your perspective, I think, Sasha. How about that? Are you going to
Yeah.
drive as well?
Yeah.
Sasha reverses the F250 into the garage, with me.
Nice.
She, when we get in, she sits up in the seat in front of me and then she'll reverse it in, won't you?
And once I drove up to like the edge
Mm-hmm.
of our
No, she's pretty good.
our road,
She's going to be a good driver, I
she
think.
was
aren't
only
you?
pushing the pedal, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
I don't know if you guys do track days down in Texas.
Not since I've been here. I used to do a lot of that kind of stuff back in Ireland, Rahul. I did a fair bit of drifting and track days, and a lot of drifting and track days, not necessarily in those places as well.
Yeah.
But since we've been to Texas, we've just been kind of consumed with other things, and it is something that, to be honest, I think I'll be afraid to bring the M5 to a track day just for fear. I'll probably have to wrap it in cotton wool when I get it. But
Yeah.
it's
So
something that I feel like,
So when I was learning how to drive, because we had to do a lot of, I had to go to Ian Law Racing School and I have 600 hours of training time in a race car. But what we used to do is after we're done for the session for the day, it's like we would hire the track and do the track day. A lot of my friends would bring their 13-year-olds and the young teens, and they would get them in the cars and let them drive on the track because the track is open.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of them learned how to drive. So
Cool.
it's my goal to get my daughter to do the same thing. So right now I'm looking at a track car, even though I'm not allowed to have one, but I'm looking at one.
We won't tell anybody. We won't tell anybody.
Yeah, no, this is going to be done in secret. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm looking at maybe a GTR in my near future.
Are you talking? Yeah. So I've had a few the R32, R33. GTRs in the past, but the new, I always fancied one of the new style.
R35.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm
um,
looking at an R35 Black Carbon edition.
nice.
Yeah, so yeah, I used
These,
to have one of those. Yeah.
yeah, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Um, cool, Sash. Well, you want to keep going?
So, what other hobbies do you have? We see from
Ooh.
the letter that you have a lot of interest.
Yeah, so good thing you asked me that because next year I'm going back to wargaming.
Ah,
Um
okay.
so I was very competitive in wargaming.
Right.
That's really where I've been. In 2005 I was national champion. I've held the top Canadian spot for a while in
Nice.
different wargaming. So wargaming is a passion that I had, and I had left it behind. But recently, as you know, um, Conquest is a club, so the
Yeah.
dragon represents a club,
Yeah.
and I launched a club to for all these gamers, and that's how I met most of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, a lot of them have their own interests, so that's why we have Conquest Shuffle, which is Pokemon and card
Cool.
related. We have
Yeah.
Conquest Collectibles, which is all about different figurines.
Yeah.
And then we have Conquest Warzone, which is about the wargaming.
Uh-huh.
But recently, I sat down with the whole team and we decided that we'd all like to work on one channel
Yeah.
starting next year. So the
Nice.
one channel that we will be doing is on wargaming because I love to paint models. That's one of my favorite things to do, airbrush and paint.
Yeah.
So I won't necessarily be gaming because my gaming days are done, but my
Mm.
friends will be,
Yeah.
and I will operate the cameras, and we will launch a big wargaming channel next year. So
Oh,
that's
that'll
our
be
goal.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's also unique because campaign based. It's not really based on competitive gaming, but more
Mhm.
about narrative.
Yeah.
So yeah, wargaming is big. I also do a lot of Lego. Um,
Sasha's a big Lego fan as
Yeah,
well.
I
We
love
all are.
Lego.
Well, I grew up with Lego. We love Lego too. Love it.
I
yeah.
love building Legos.
So I have 1/8 scale, 1/18th scale cars. I'm a big collector of those. So and I have a lot of them that are new in box that are worth a lot of money now.
They are.
So
Some of those are really hard to get. I mean,
yeah,
we've only got a few. We have the DeLorean, which is slightly smaller. What
yeah,
else we have? We've got a Shelby GT500.
yeah,
Something else as well. But there are so many I've seen, and I'm like, oh, we want that. But some of them are
yeah,
pricey.
But
yeah. So like I got, I've been collecting for a bit, but I also got non-Lego based brands,
Hmm.
which I just got the new Ken Block Mustang.
Okay.
And then
Didn't
I
think you were
got,
a Ford man.
I'm not, but it's Ken Block. I do
Yeah,
like I have a lot of RC cars as well. So I used to do a lot of mini Z
he was
racing.
amazing guy. He was really was.
Yeah,
Rest in
100%.
peace. Yeah.
So yeah, so I collect a lot of that. My daughter's into Gundam and Gundam building and
Mhm.
anime. So
Cool.
we have a huge robot collection, I guess. And then I'm
Mhm.
big in Transformers, so I have a lot of
Woof.
Transformers as
uh,
well.
Run over there and go and get something out of your room to show Raul. I think Raul will definitely like that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I grew up with Transformers, so I wish I still had all my originals. They My family, I think they gave them away. My grandfather gave them all away to
me
somebody,
too.
and I went looking for them, and it was like, oh no, Scalextric's gone, Transformers
Yeah,
all gone. Zoids I used to love as well.
right.
Absolutely loved them.
So the original Soundwave and metal and all that, I had
Yeah,
those, but they're all gone
yeah.
now.
So this is the
Oh
Robos,
yeah,
and
I know him.
that's
I know
the
him very well.
yeah. Sasha loves that, don't you?
Yeah,
It's a beast of a thing. Actually, we were thinking of getting the base for Raul because it's quite difficult to
Transformers.
store because when it goes limp,
Yeah.
you just have to leave it as is. So
I got something to show him
um,
too.
the Grimlock is pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
And
he's awesome.
but you know what? I was disappointed because it's smaller than the flagship Optimus, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't be that much smaller. So if we had the Elite, maybe, but was like, it's $1,500. It's not cheap either.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Uh,
Um, no, I don't. So I have a big comic collection, so comic
oh,
books. So
what
that's
sort of
like the
stuff?
hidden one. It's like I'm a big Spawn guy, so
Spawn.
all of McFarlane and all of Mike Turner, so Fathom, Witchblade,
Yeah,
those are the things I collected.
nice.
What was that you were showing me, Sasha?
Oh, Top Trumps.
Top Trumps Transformers.
Oh, yeah. So like they released a Transformer collecting card game as well, which is big on
Oh, you like
something
that,
that we
wouldn't you?
play
Yeah, I
here.
like Transformers and I love cards, but
Yeah.
mostly the Transformers part.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I have the new combiners upstairs. I've never showcased that, but I have the
cool.
really big combiner series Transformers.
You
So
should maybe do a video on that if you have time at some stage. It'd be fun. It's we did just a short. Sasha was dancing with Optimus,
yes.
and it was like thousands of views overnight. And it's
Yeah.
funny how that you put out something. Obviously, anything with Optimus on it is popular.
Yeah. Yeah, my friends are big into Beast Wars. So we have all the Beast War. We because I'm connected to the hobby industry because I own my own hobby store, so I can get my hands on things that especially when it comes to figurines and comics and the wargaming side of things, not
uh-huh.
in the slot. Like the slot car is different, right? But in the hobby world, slot cars are not considered part of the hobby world per se. They're
Yeah,
like their own little niche market, just like trains is. But in
yeah.
the hobby world in general, like Pokemon and all the cards and all the
Uh-huh.
collectibles and stuff, um, it seems like yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so on that side of things, like I have a lot of collections.
Mm,
So like Spawn figures or collect like figures in general. My friends are big into collections that way. I
mm.
don't know if you know about Joy Toy.
I'm not sure on that one. What's that role?
So they release figurines based on our wargaming world, but they're
Mm-hmm.
really highly detailed figurines. So I've got a
Okay.
whole bunch of that. But this is why I want to get into toy photography because a lot of these need to be brought to life.
Yeah.
And I have so many of these figurines and stuff. So
Do you
it'd
ever
be
have any
great.
sideshow collectible stuff, Raul?
I don't. But
Some of those are impressive looking.
yeah, there's so much good stuff.
Yeah.
My friend does like he has a whole basement full of collector like figurines.
Mm,
So if we do, that's why we launched Conquest Collectibles.
yeah.
But like I said, they don't want to do it by themselves anymore. They all want to do it together. So we're gonna do this wargaming
That'd
channel
be
and take it
fun,
from there. Yeah.
It's always fun to do things with other people as well, isn't it? It kind of takes a new dimension. It's the same thing with what we're doing, now.
Like me and my dad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's having the fun, and it's nice when Elisa comes in and picks up a controller, and um, her mom will pick up a controller as well. It's good fun, and then you know, one of the questions actually ask this question next. Actually, it's just based on what we're talking about.
Tell us about the new Global Racing League.
Aha. Yeah. So what's the one thing that we as slot car people or hobbyists lack? It's because when I came into the slot car hobby, like I said, I came in with a very different approach. I'm not a traditional slot car hobbyist. I came here to shoot the slot cars. I didn't come and
Yeah,
collect them. I didn't come to tune them. One thing that and people were complaining how the hobby was kind of like not as big.
yeah,
And I was going back to the wargaming side of things. And I was asking myself, why is wargaming huge? Because wargaming is in its own right is a very geeky kind of thing.
yeah.
It's also not mainstream. So why is it big, right?
Mm,
And yes, there's the tie-in to video games, which is a
Yeah.
big part of it. But
Sure.
more than that was, you need to understand that there was a time when Games Workshop, which is the big wargaming game that most of us play, when they were going to go out of business, and they had to take a step back, and the community had to come forward and drive it forward from that point. And the one thing that we did was standardize everything, right?
Yeah.
So when I looked at it, I was like, well, what if we standardize slot car racing? Like, yes, it's not going to appeal to the purist. It's
Yeah.
not going to appeal to the hardcore racer, but it's going to appeal to people just starting out.
Yeah.
So, for instance, now like we talked to Dan from Slot Valley Racing, who does predominantly HO, but as soon as he heard about the GRL, he went out and bought a 1/32 scale slot car set.
Ah, nice.
So now there's a crossover because he wants to test his metal, and it's a great way to test by racing against people at this on the same level.
Yes.
And that's how the GRL came to be. So the GRL
It's a great idea.
is to standardize racing from the comfort of your home based on what we call time attack, right? So you race on the same track, you have the same carve, in terms of like straight out of the box or whatever it is, whatever we decide as a group. Because right
Yeah.
after I finish off with you guys here, I'm going to step into a GRL meeting, and
Yeah.
as a group we meet and we discuss what we want to do over the next period of time. So and it allows you, Sasha, to buy. You probably can do this with all the leftover pieces you have. You can actually put together a GRL track in the corner of your room, and you can test how fast you are compared to anyone else,
We should do
because
that.
it's the same track. And it doesn't matter if you're competing GRL or not. You can still do a live stream and say, I'm going to test myself against the GRL round 1 with my GT3 car and see if you
Yeah.
can beat us, because all our results are posted. And even though you're not in the GRL, you could be in the GRL, right?
Yeah.
Because you could actually just test yourself in private against our numbers, right? And then you'll find, and I think it's a way to give more people confidence to race against each other, because it's all about having fun.
Sure
There's
is.
no major like rules. Isn't Yeah,
Everything's about fun.
Yes.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
100%. We agree with. I think it'd be fun. We have a load of track Raul, so maybe
Yeah.
we should set up, get the track plans from Raul and set up that track and see what kind of times you can put down.
Yeah.
Well, everything is online.
Cool.
Tracks are online. Everything's online. So scgrl.com.
Okay.
It's the website that I built for it. Everything's there. So go there. You can see the rules. You can see all the tracks. You can see how we run them. It's very laid back. You can see everyone who runs.
Right.
And there's 10 races for this first season. I only wanted 10 racers. So I kept it small so I could test everything, make sure everything runs, all the when you start something, you don't want to start too big, because then you can get frustrated and you can get lost in the process.
Sure.
So I wanted to keep it tight, small, but get it run smoothly. And I think everyone's having great success. And the HO guys, like even the Stock Valley Racing guys, want to do the same thing for the AFX stuff,
Yeah.
because it's a great concept and you can just take it and run with it, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Well, why don't we do that, Sash? Set up another track, and let's see what kind of times you can put down.
Yeah, live stream it, and hashtag SCGRL, SCGRL, or hashtag GRL,
Be
and
fun,
we'll see it. And I'll shout you out too. And I'm pretty sure everyone wants to see how well you do.
I
But
think you do.
it's so simple, Sasha. This is the rule. It's always good. Like, we practice a lot, but when you start your run, when you say this is my run, when you deslot, that's it.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty cool, because even grown people like myself get sweaty palms when we race at that level.
I'll tell you, after watching Sasha do those 4 track tests in a row with 3 Revo slots, and she never came out of the slot once, I'm seriously concerned now.
No, it's
You
good.
know,
It's good.
well, it's what I find is that, and I'll be egging Sasha on sometimes. I'll be saying, now, increase your speed, and she'll be saying, oh, when I get used to the car, see how it handles, and then I'll increase gradually. And
Yeah.
if you look at her doing it, she very rarely comes out of the slot. Whereas I'm always pushing,
Yeah.
I'm always pushing when I'm driving. Like I'm really, testing the boundaries when
Like
I'm.
you like no one ever has to tell you, go
Mhm.
on, like push it harder,
Yeah, yeah,
like do it, come on. Instead you're like,
yeah.
I'm like,
So the GRL was so
Mhm.
GRL was born. So if you remember, I told you about my first year, 1 car a week for 52 weeks. And
Yeah,
I cataloged all of that on my website. So conquestgamingclub.com. So if you go there, you
yeah.
see every car I've tested.
Mhm.
The thing was the SCGRL rules is what I used to do my test. That means
Mhm.
that I would only count the laps on the car. The car had to complete 10 laps without coming off for me to
Right.
actually register the run.
Yeah,
So some cars I would run like 10 times. So I'll do
yeah.
like 50 laps before I got a clean set of 10 laps. And every time you kind of dropped your speed because the car after a while gets frustrating. You can imagine after 6 hours of shooting, I'm trying to test this car and it's not completing 10 laps. The most frustrating part is when you get to ninth lap and it slides off and you're like, oh no, I got to repeat this all over again. And most
Yeah.
people thought that I was just doing it, but I was so true to my word. I used to
Mm.
run those cars for 10 laps and it was like a rule, and it sometimes got frustrating. So the SCGRL was tested on that level.
Tested to the limits.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun though, a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, it seems to be. Go ahead there, Sash.
we are delighted you designed our new DNA t-shirts. You are very talented. Do you enjoy graphic designs?
Yeah, well, I used to work for Alliance Atlantis, so Spider-Man 2 posters and a lot of things
Nice.
that you guys have seen I've actually worked on.
That's awesome.
Um,
Very cool.
so I come from a big design background.
Mhm.
And yeah, I still design, and like my daughter designs her own shirts as well and stuff, and
That's
everything I wear is designed by myself. I don't really wear anybody else's clothing but my own. So
good.
yeah,
Well,
I
it's a
have
great.
my own print shop, right?
Yeah, great time. We're looking forward to getting the t-shirts. Actually, have a little scroll across the bottom with a link to
Yeah.
the Conquest layer. If anybody wants to get some DNA Born to Race t-shirts.
Born to race, baby.
Yeah.
Born to race.
Yeah, we'll have to get ask Rob for that. Can we use that?
Yeah.
Well, we do more than t-shirts.
Yeah.
So see that metal print, this Spawn poster right behind me? That's
Yes.
done
Yeah.
on metal. That's 2
See,
foot by
Rahul,
3 foot.
you probably shouldn't have told me that.
We do metal prints. We do lots of
Nice.
mugs. I do embroidery too. So
Yeah.
all these hats are all done in house.
Oh,
Um,
we'll have to
everything
get
is done in house.
Hats, pants, t-shirts.
that. No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's no, that's cool. It's nice as well to have you do it for us. It keeps it in the community as well, keeps it in the slot car community. So I think that's always a positive.
Yeah. Now you guys need to join the Slot Vengers.
Yes. How do we join the Slot Avengers? That's
You
the
just
question.
have to ask.
Can we join? You ask, Sash. We've more chance of being admitted if you ask.
Can we join the Slot Adventures?
Yeah, for sure. So,
Woohoo!
send me a message in Facebook to
Yeah.
me. You're connected to me in Facebook, and then
Mhm.
I send that to the Slot Vendors, and we'll let you know. That's
Thank
how it
you.
works. And then
Yeah.
once you're in, then you get added to all the Slot Vendors memorabilia as well. Some people can pick your logo to put on their shirts when they buy. So all the
Cool.
legendary cars, the
Mhm.
legendary shirts,
They're
you
awesome.
they can choose to put your DNA logo on there, and then you guys get a little bit back.
Ah,
So yeah,
cool. Well,
that's
we
how.
thank you for your consideration.
Yeah, for sure, no problem. Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
just the way it works. It's a
Yeah.
fun thing, but really what it was, and I think what you need to understand from my part is we need to come together more.
Mm.
So it's a way to bring us all together. So Slot Avenger is not some elitist thing, and I'm just joking about that. You're a Slot Avenger the day you picked up a controller, Sasha. So it's fun.
There you
It's
go.
all good.
Ah, that's very cool. Thank you. Yeah, we could. You know what? I was just looking at the time there. I realized we were already been chatting for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We could easily
16.
talk all day, but
Yeah, like.
I'm going to have to feed this lady. I'm afraid.
Aw, I'm not hungry though,
You're not
Kenya.
hungry. You're always hungry.
Yeah, I'm usually always hungry, but whenever I start talking, like, I'm not hungry. I just want to keep talking.
Well, that's because Rahul's interesting to talk to as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cool. But we better leave it to there for now, and we will. Yeah,
Okay,
we
get
just
one more question, Sasha. One more.
one more question. Go on,
One
one
more
more question.
question.
After you, just come up with a question now off the top of your head.
Talking about Transformers,
Uh-huh.
what's your favorite Transformer? Just want to know that.
Oh, that's an easy one. It's Rodimus Prime.
Ah, nice.
Mine Optimus Prime or Bumblebee.
You like Bumblebee?
Yeah.
Transformers.
Yeah.
Robots in the skies.
I used to have a Metroplex. Remember Metroplex?
Yep.
But I always liked Ultra Magnus. I always liked actually.
I have a
although
small version of him.
I was pretty upset when they first released the Transformers the movie. You know,
Yeah.
now in time it's become a classic. You know, and actually really I showed it to Sasha and really enjoyed it. But I still can't believe that they killed off Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, secretly, my favorite Transformer is Soundwave
I love
because
Soundwave.
he's so cool. I wanted Soundwave. I've always loved Soundwave, but he's a Decepticon, so it's hard. But
I hear a rumor that Roboson's next
oh yeah,
Transformer is going to be Soundwave. Now
and then
that'll be
I might just drop that money for that because Optimus Prime, even though he's just too good for me, you know what I mean? Like it's like Superman, you know. It's like I like Spawn because Spawn is
bad.
it's weird. so so yeah, if they do release Soundwave, I'll probably be tempted, very tempted.
Do you know what'd be cool? And I'd love if he was like an old school cassette, you know, Walkman. When he,
Yeah.
I really hope that's the case because that'd be super cool.
Yeah, well, they have a lot they can do that because depending on what they use for the loadout from
Yeah.
within, that would be awesome too. But
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, we better wrap it up there.
But I want to show you one more Transformer.
thing. Okay, show one more thing.
Okay, I'll be right back.
It's like when we were doing the track test, you can always tell when Sasha really likes a car because she, you know, when you say, okay, last, then keeps going. If she's not keen, then she'll stop there and then.
No, it's good. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get her and my daughter on a live stream.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be fun.
Yeah, because
what's this one, Sash?
Twitch.
Yeah.
Here's the actual him though.
Oh, nice.
He turns into like a truck.
Galvatron. Yeah.
Turn into a truck.
I'll tell you one thing. This one is not the easiest one to transform.
Oh yeah, no. We
You
barely
know what's
take him
really
out.
hard? I don't know if you've ever got the original Japanese metal ones.
I used to have the original Galvatron, you know, back in the day, but original Megatron and then Galvatron and stuff, but not had any of them recently, really, apart from this latest stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we should do a crossover. I suggest this DNA and Conquest. We just do a Transformer crossover.
Yes,
where you show me all your collection on my channel, and I'll do my collection for your channel. I'll send you the video files. You send me your video files because I have a bunch of Transformer stuff here. some of it is very unique. I have a lot of alternates,
Yeah,
and they're
cool.
from Japan, so the
Yeah.
metal ones, very difficult to transform. I don't even remember if I know how to transform them. And then I have all my big combiners, so maybe we can do that crossover.
Great
That'll be
idea.
fun.
And
Yeah.
we'll make up for the fact of that we won't have as many as you by getting Sasha to perform with Optimus. How about that?
Yeah. But not counting as like Transformers that you can transform and dance with. I have my own Transformers pajamas.
Oh yes.
Oh, oh no,
Transformers
you got us.
pajamas.
You got us beat now. You got us beat now.
You gotta,
Yeah.
so you're gonna wear. You have to wear the Transformers pajamas then when you're doing the video.
Yeah.
Deal. I'll wear.
Deal.
And I'll wear my Soundwave T-shirt. How about that?
Wait, what?
I'll wear my Soundwave T-shirt.
You never showed. Oh, actually, no. I think I seen you wear that.
Oh, in honor of Rahul, I'll wear a Soundwave T-shirt for it.
Yeah.
I think that's only
And
fair.
then yeah. Well, we'll stay in touch, because let's do that, and then I'll send you something. If we're gonna do this crossover, I'm gonna send you something, and you have to build it and showcase it on the crossover. Okay.
That sounds cool. That sounds
And
a
you get
cool
to
idea.
keep it.
Yeah.
Oh, hear that? You get to keep it.
Yay!
Yeah.
I would
So we'll have
do
some fun.
anything to keep something.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. We'll do anything to keep something. Yeah, so
Especially Transformers and slot cars.
you definitely belong in this hobby.
She certainly does. She certainly does.
Yeah.
Okay, Rahul. Well, thanks a million for coming on with us.
No
And,
problems.
super chat, really interesting stuff, and we've had a great time. I hope you have too.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, so we'll be in touch. You tell me when you want to do this crossover. We'll figure things out. Me and the dad will talk, and we'll get some stuff sorted out, and we'll get this done.
Awesome.
Because that's what I want to do. I want to do lots of crossovers now with lots of different people.
Yeah.
Right.
Sounds good to us, folks. And as
Yeah.
always,
And also that when we do the crossover, I bet you're gonna beat us, but the pajamas
I'm
are
not
gonna
gonna
work.
beat you. It's not a competition when we do the crossover.
yeah, no.
Yeah, but still. And also, I would pay I would pay you if I was a billionaire. I would pay you all my money to do this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you're very cute, Sasha. I had a great time talking to both of you.
Awesome.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and the hobby is much better having you here. So thank you so much for picking up a controller and being part of this hobby.
Thank you
And
too,
we'll do
Rahul.
lots of cool things.
We certainly will.
Yeah.
As always, folks.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.